This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, guys. First of all, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Kashif. I am from India. I have 13 years of IT experience. I have expertise on SCCM, Intune, application packaging, Azure PowerShell. I'm a BSc IT graduate from Mumbai University, and I started working as a SCCM level 1 engineer, then level 2, level 3. Now I'm working as a SCCM architect. Apart from the deployment and implementation project task, I am involved in the training, wherein I have trained more than 13,000 students globally. So this is about me. Let me take it to the next slide, which talks about the duration. It is 1 month, Monday to Friday. We will do 11:30 a.m. India time, right? And
Yeah.
that is 7 a.m. UK time, right? And Andrew,
Yeah.
this is India time. So daily basis, Monday to Friday, we will uh, do the session. Now, SCCM started in 1994. Okay, so this is the historical background of SCCM. SCCM started as SMS System Management Server in 1994 as SMS 1.0. Then SMS 2.0 in 1999, then SMS 2003 in the year 2003. Then Microsoft changed the name from SMS to SCCM in 2007. In 2007, they released SCCM 2007, then 2012, and then 1511. So they are now using year and month. So suppose they are releasing in November. So now 1511. So 15 is 2015, 11 is November. These are three versions released in the year 2016. These three versions released in the year 2017. These three versions released in the year 2018. These three versions released in the year 2019. But from 19 onwards, in October 19, what they did, they changed the name again from SCCM to MECM. Okay, Microsoft Endpoint Configuration Manager. So 1910, this is 2019 October they released. So now the new name of SCCM is MECM. It's no more SCCM, it is MECM. And last year they released 2002, 2006, and 2010. That's the latest version of SCCM. Okay. So these are called current branch. Okay. After 2012, because 2012 is already outdated. So we are now using the latest version. Most of the people are now using these versions or 1803. Most of the people are either on this one or this one. Few people are on the latest one as well. 2010 is the latest and greatest version of SCCM. So almost like 25 years this product is there in the market, right? And it's a matured product. Thousands and thousands of companies have implemented this. Millions of devices are being managed by this product. Okay, so that is historical background of SCCM. Now I'll take you to the certification details. Certification was there 243, 70-243 was the exam that is expired. Then the second exam came in 70-703, that is expired too. Now we don't have any exam for a specific exam for SCCM. We have MD 101, but that is not a specific to SCCM. That is modern desktop exam. You become system administrator, but not as SCCM administrator, which we used to be after completing this exam. That is expired now. Now opportunities, you have a number of opportunities because this is the third largest selling product of Microsoft. First is OS. Microsoft is selling operating system first, then Office, and then SCCM, which is now MECM. So this is the third largest selling product of Microsoft. So because of this, you have, wherever you go, you will find SCCM. Almost all big size and medium size companies have SCCM. You may not find SCCM in small size companies, but big size and medium size companies have SCCM. 43% of market share. People are earning good amount, good salary. Average salary is $45 as per the statistic. In Europe, in Australia, Canada, America. But in India, you can expect this one per year average salary. I hope you are getting more than this, Rishi, but this is the
Yeah.
average salary. Average salary for SCCM administrator per year. You might be getting more than this, you might be getting less than this. That's the average one. Okay.
Correct.
So n number of opportunities are there. It's an evergreen product, and people are making their career in this SCCM administration. You can apply for SCCM related opportunities in Indeed, Dice, or Naukri, or Monster. There are a number of websites available. Now,
Right.
apart from SCCM, like SCCM, you have other tools like IBM Big Fix. Okay,
Okay.
which the competitors of SCCM. Okay, Alteris, this is from
Altered.
Symantec. Then you have Landesk from Avanti.
Yeah.
Okay, then we have Tanium, and then we have Workspace. These are some of the competitors of SCCM, but SCCM is way ahead from these competitors. It is a giant. Okay,
Right.
these are like very
IBM, you said
small.
Big Fix, yeah?
Yeah,
IBM Big Fix. I'm
it is
making a note of
now
this.
sold. It is now sold to HCL, and now it is HCL Big Fix.
Correct.
Can I ask you a question there?
Yeah,
You see that one you got HCL Big Fix, and then underneath that, that's what? Altris?
Alteris from Symantec.
ALTRIS?
Yeah, ALTIRIS, Alteris.
Altris, semantic from.
I have seen companies moving from Alteryx to SCCM. This is also
Yeah,
a case.
yeah, many
Landesk,
companies.
I know Landesk.
Landes from Ivanti.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's the next one? Begins with T?
Tanium, 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 Tanium.
And then is that
There are
workforce?
many, yeah, the workspace. There are many deployment tools. These are what SCCM is enterprise device management solution plus deployment tool. These are also working in the same fashion, but very limited features. Otherwise, on the other hand, SCCM is way ahead from these competitors. SCCM has got many features. Okay,
Okay.
so let's move on to the next slide, which talks about the sites. Yesterday we discussed about sites. So there are 3 sites in SCCM, Rishi: central, primary, and secondary. Now we'll talk about what is central, what is primary, and what is secondary site. Now, primary site is what? It is an optional site. Okay, primary site is needed when you have more than one primary. We are talking about central administration site. Central administration site is an optional site in SCCM. Optional.
Right.
It may be needed, might not be needed. As you said, you don't have a central administration site, Rishi. Yesterday we talked
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah.
You just have one single primary site, and either a site system server or a secondary site you might have. Okay, when I see your this thing, central administration site is what? Optional.
Right.
It is needed only when you have more than one primary site.
Okay.
Suppose if you have primary site 1 and primary site 2, then only central is needed. Otherwise, central is not needed. If you have just single one primary site, then no primary site is needed. I mean, no central. It needs database to store the data. Okay, clients are not talking to central administration side. It does not support client assignment. Okay, so central administration side is basically managing primary site. So clients are not talking to central, and secondary side is also not talking to central administration side.
Right.
Central is basically for primary side. Primary side is being managed by central. Okay, so I'm just giving you overview. I will take another session with you, Rishi, wherein I'll give you more details about these things. Okay.
Sure.
Now, primary site is the main site in SCCM. It has without this, nothing will happen. Okay, because all the policies and everything starts from primary site. So primary site is mandatory site. That's the first thing. Primary site needs database, just like central administration site. Primary site also needs database. Primary site collects data from where? from client computers. Primary side will collect data from client computer, right?
Right.
Plus secondary side database. Secondary also has a database, so it gathers data from here. So whatever the data primary side collects, it will put it here in the database.
Got it.
One primary site can have maximum 175,000 client systems. That's the limit. One central administration site can have maximum 825,000 client computers. That's the
Okay.
maximum limit. Okay. Primary site is basically, how do we install primary site? Suppose you are in Pune, right? And that is your headquarter. Let's say the office name is Yahoo. Pune is the headquarter, and in Pune you have like 50,000 devices.
Mm-hmm.
So you will install just single primary site, and that will be managing all the 50,000 devices. But what
Right.
about the computers which are outside? For example, the computers which are in different location, in remote location, in branch offices. For
Right.
example, Mumbai. Then you have Chennai, right? Then you have Hyderabad. Then you have you know other location, Paris,
Yeah.
London. So some
Yeah.
devices, let's say 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 devices, 5,000 devices, 6,000 devices. So you see, there are many devices which are outside, and it
Right.
is connected on the WAN network. So WAN, when it is coming on WAN network, then the network connectivity is limited. So we will not be, the primary side will not be able to manage all these devices in outside location. So we will install secondary. So through secondary, we will be able to manage all the devices in remote location. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The secondary is needed when you have branch offices, and all the secondary will report back to primary. Okay.
But if, let's say, if these sites which are secondary, like if they are connecting from the main office as on the VPN tunnel, like, or we create a MPLS link where they come as a kind of LAN within an Ethernet.
Yeah,
So
if
in
you
that
have
case, what?
LAN, then you don't need
Right.
this secondary side. Then
Okay.
primary will be, because it is as good as LAN, right?
Right.
Then you don't
Right.
need secondary side. If you have good connectivity, then don't need secondary side. So
Right.
when 5G network comes in, when you have good connectivity all over the places, then secondary
You
side will
won't
go
need
away.
secondary. Yeah.
Right. Because it is better to have limited. Why to have so much complex in the
Right.
creating so much? But yes, if there is no connectivity and all are outside the office and there is no connectivity, all are connected through their local ISP, then I believe it is required.
Right. Then it is required, and if the connectivity is good, as you said, it is as good as LAN network, then secondary side is not needed.
Not reconnected. Right.
Now secondary side, I have already mentioned, this is needed only for the branch offices, and it basically stores data in SQL Express or SQL Server database, either this or this. Mostly we use this one because this is free of cost. Okay, understood. So we don't need
Okay.
this one.
How the licensing works for this primary, secondary? Like, is there any license required for secondary also?
No. Once you take the license, there are two types of license: a standard license or data
Mm-hmm.
center license. So when you
Okay.
take license, either standard or data center, then you can build servers. It is not needed separate license for central, separate license for primary. It's not like that. Okay.
Okay.
Now architecture, there are three types of architecture we have. Suppose if you are working as SCCM architect, which you are planning to do, right? So
Yeah.
there are three types of architecture you can design for SCCM. So based on the company geographical location. For example, the company is only at one location; it does not have any branch office. So we call it a small size companies. So we just install one single primary site, and all the machines will be managed by primary site. Okay.
Right.
Medium sized companies, 99% of cases you will find this kind of architecture, because company will have a headquarter and branch office. So headquarter, we normally install primary site, and branch office will have secondary site.
Correct.
Okay. So primary will have a will be there on this one, headquarter, and branch office here. Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is very rare kind of deployment implementation, but it is there in some organization like Accenture, Deloitte, or IBM, big companies. So when you have more than 100,000 devices or 200,000 devices, the one primary site is not sufficient. You have to have more than one primary site. So when you have more than one primary site, let's say primary 1, primary 2, and primary 3, so you need central on the top.
Yeah.
Okay, so all primary will report to central like this. So this is for big size organization, very rare. Okay, but you have this kind of architecture too. So mostly this we use. Okay.
Yeah. But what happened, Kashif? Let's say if where we have only primary site, like in the example 2, we have the only primary site, and let's say it get down, any failure, any OS failure or something. Then what should be the recommended way to manage clients even in that case?
So in that case, what we previously it was not there. In 1810 it started. Previously, if primary is down, then down, everything is down.
Right.
But now from 1810, from 2018 October, what
Okay.
Microsoft developed is that they have called primary site active and passive feature.
Mm.
Previously it was not there. Okay, active. So you will have two server, both of them will be primary site, but one of them will be active at one time.
Okay.
So if this goes down, then this you can make as active.
Perfect.
And I take it these two, the passive and the active, obviously these are sitting on two different servers, yeah? So on two different domains.
Two different, yes, two different server. It cannot be on the same server. Then it will be one. Both of them will be failed.
That's right.
And it is not possible. It is not possible to install two primary site on the same server.
Mm.
Okay.
But they will share the same database, or the database
Same
will be
data.
also
Yes, database will be same.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Right.
And you can also have a data redundancy. For example, if you wanna do a database like this database, this is like a listener. Okay.
Right.
And in the backend you will have active database and passive database, or always on functionalities, high availability, right? So if
Okay.
this goes down, then this will be active, right? If just like active passive feature. Okay.
Got it. Got it.
The database, every site has a database, secondary, primary, and central, right? So secondary will pass on the data, whatever it collects, to primary, and whatever primary collects, it will pass on to central.
Correct.
Okay. Now today we will talk about site roles. There are many site roles. Okay, we call it site components or site roles, site system roles. So some management point, distribution point, software update point, these are roles which we install based on our requirement. Some roles are mandatory, some roles are optional. Okay.
Right.
Now, so let's talk about management point first. What is the role of management point? Management point is like a communication bridge between the client and the server. So if you have thousands and thousands of computers, let's say you have 10,000 computers or 1,000 computers. In each computer, you need to install SCCM client. Okay, small software will be there. The agent will have to be installed. Right, Andrew?
Yep.
And then the client cannot talk to the server directly. Okay, this client cannot talk to the server directly. Client will go through the management point. Management point, it's like a communication bridge between the server and the client. So first point is, it is a communication bridge between the server and the client. Okay, start making note of it, guys. It is a
Yeah.
communication bridge between SCCM server and client. Point
Right.
number 2, the client will take policies from here. Okay, it is like a reception kind of thing. Suppose if you go to hotel or something, you go to the reception and you get all the information from the reception, right? So suppose if you have to take your letter or some parcel, you go to the reception and reception will give it to you if the parcel
Right.
arrived for you, right? The management point is like a reception guy kind of thing. So all the policies are present here, all the parcels are present here. Okay, so if this client has got parcel, it will go and collect the parcel and come back. Okay, this will go, but it will come empty handed if the parcel is not there, but it will keep on connecting. So the client will keep on talking to management point like this every 5 minutes. Every 5 minutes it will communicate like this. Understood?
Okay.
Correct.
Okay.
So it is like policy keeper. So
Yeah.
devices take all the policies, client take all the policies from management point. Management point is down, then the policies will not be distributed to the devices, and communication cannot be established between the server and the client.
Right.
Okay. Then what it does is it also collects inventory. So the client will scan the computer. In each client will scan the computer and send the inventory data. Let's say it has 2 GB of RAM, a Dell computer, serial number, motherboard information, processor information. Same thing goes with here. So all the clients will scan the machine and send the data back to management point.
Okay.
So it is inventory collector. It collects inventory collector. Okay. And
So it
then
collects hardware and software. Sorry, Krish, is it hardware and software? So it knows what the client is, and that client will also report back to it to say the status of the software on the machine.
Right. And what it will do with all those inventory, it has to keep somewhere. It has to keep those inventory data somewhere, right? Suppose you send me n number of parcels, I have to keep somewhere in a storeroom or somewhere. So it will put all those inventory data in the database. So whatever the inventory it collects, it is going to pass on to the database. Okay.
Yeah.
So it stores data in database.
So
Clear?
inventory means clients are giving their information to MP.
Yes.
That this is all I have on my machine.
Right.
Okay.
So it is gonna pass on the data to the database. Database will store them. Now, is it a mandatory or optional? It is a mandatory role. Okay, it's a mandatory role. Make a note of it, guys. It's a mandatory. That's point number 5. You have to have this management. If management point is not there, everything will get disturbed. Communication bridge will broken. Policy will not be distributed. Inventory will not get collected. It will not store the data in the database. Okay, it's a mandatory. Now, where will you install? So as SCCM architect, you need to find out the location. Where will you install? So suppose this is your SCCM primary site, right? You can install management point here on the primary site itself, on the same box. Okay.
Right.
Or you can install on secondary site management point. Okay.
Right.
Or you can install this on a separate server. Suppose your primary site is here, but you will install one separate server like site system server and then put MP on that box. Clear?
Right.
So the whatever SCCM will send the policy here, and all the devices will get the policy from here. Inventory will get collected from the devices. So all the things will be happening from here. This is like a junction. The management point, all the clients will take the policy, all the clients will send the inventory to management point. Okay.
But I suppose in terms of strain on the network, it's easier to have it either sitting, just either on the SCCM server or on another box just before, in between, or even on a P1, because that way you're always communicating the information back to the databases in that direction.
Yes.
The data flows better rather than.
Yeah, but it is not that big data it is collecting, because it's just the policy. It will be in KB.
Okay.
Yeah. So that is not a problem, and we can also distribute the load. We can have more than one management point. So one primary site can have 10 management point. Okay, so you can put one management point here on active primary site, another management point on passive primary site,
Okay.
right? Some management point, you can put another management point for HTTPS connection. Let's say the computer which is coming from outside the IBCM server, you will have another management point. So all the machines which are coming from outside, they will connect here. All the internal machine, they will connect here. So you can distribute the load. Let's say 5,000 machines here, another 5,000 machines here. Understood?
Mm.
One management point can support 25,000 client computers. So one management point can
Okay.
have 25,000 client computers. Rishi,
Yeah.
you have to
Got
make
it.
all these notes.
Yeah.
Okay, so management point is a very crucial
Role.
role in SCCM. Okay,
Yeah.
now distribution point. Distribution point is very important in terms of distributing the software and files and operating system and updates and all. Suppose you have some distribution point. Each location will have a distribution point. Okay, for example, distribution point in Mumbai. Okay,
Mm.
another distribution point in London. Okay, another distribution point in Hyderabad, another distribution point in New York.
Yeah.
Okay, suppose if you have to install Google Chrome in
Yeah.
New York computer, so what will you do? You will create the policy, Google Chrome policy. Okay, and the policy will go to management point. Okay, policy will go to management point, and the content, the Google Chrome installer, you will send to distribution point. Okay, so the client, let's say these are the machines in New York, so they will get the policy from here, right, and the content from here. Understood?
Okay. Mm.
Suppose I I ask you, Andrew and Rishi, can you purchase a laptop? So Andrew will purchase laptop from his nearby store,
Correct.
and Rishi will purchase laptop from Rishi from your nearby store, right?
Correct.
So
Right.
distribution point is like a nearby store. Okay, so all the
Got
files,
it.
software files and operating system file or everything, so they will be present on the distribution point. And
Got it.
instruction will be on management point. I gave you the instruction, purchase a new laptop. That is instruction is their policy is on management. So I am like a management point which I'm instructing Andrew and Rishi. So, but
Yeah.
they are taking it from their
Local.
nearby store
Yeah.
locally. Yes,
Got it.
understood.
But
So
if we both get
instruction will
from
come
Azure,
from policy.
that is IBCM. Right?
Sorry.
If we get it from Azure, then that is IBCM. We both are getting from the central location.
Yes, we can configure both of them at one single location. Let's say for outside machines,
Correct.
you will have outside, one server which is like accepting all the connection from outside, and you can put MP and DP, both
Yeah.
of them, and it is connecting to HTTPS, which we will talk about later on, secured
Yeah.
connection. So policy will come here and content will come here. So all the
Come here.
machines which are outside, they can get the policy from here, content from here.
Content from here. Right.
One question here. Obviously, the larger the organization, the more distribution points. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah.
Each location will have a distribution point.
Yeah.
Because if you keep one distribution point for Mumbai and London, let's say, take this example. You have one distribution point in London, okay, and these machines are in London. So that is okay. These machines are on LAN network. They can get the file quickly and properly, easily. But Some machines are there in Mumbai, for example, so they are on WAN network. So it will take n number of it will cause network issues. The network will be choked up if the file is too big. For example, 1 GB file, Microsoft Office file, or operating system file, which is like generally 5 GB file, then the network will be choked up, right? So that's the reason we put the local distribution point. Understood?
Right.
Just like headquarter, your bank, Bank of America, let's say headquarter is in London, and other location you will have branch offices, so that the load can be distributed. So people in different location can go to the nearby branch office. Okay,
Right.
clear, Andrew?
Yeah.
So it is what distribution point is. What it is, a content storage. Storage. Okay, devices will download the content from distribution point. Each location will have a distribution point, so devices will download content from distribution point. Make a note of it. Third point, it is a mandatory site, a mandatory site role. Why? Because without this you cannot deploy application, you cannot deploy software updates, you cannot deploy operating system. You have to have this. Okay, understood? And where will you install distribution point? Distribution point can be installed on primary site. Okay, you can install distribution point on primary site, or you can install it on a separate server.
Secondary site or Windows Server or client.
You can also install this on Windows 10 computer. This is the only role in SCCM you can install it on Windows 10 distribution point, or you can install this on secondary site. So SCCM secondary site, you can install distribution point on that one. So primary site, or on a separate server, or on Windows 10, or on secondary site. It's a mandatory role. It's a content storage. Okay.
Yeah, got it. So with Kashif, one question: with one license of SCCM, which is MECM, how many servers we can create with one license? Like, is there any limit? I want to know the. Let's say if there is a company comes to me, like design the SCCM setup or infrastructure for me, and give me the quote. How much is the cost is going to come? So what all should I consider, like operating system, server cost, database cost,
Yes.
and the license
You
of?
have to. Okay, we will talk about it later on, because
Okay.
we have to discuss a lot of things in licensing part. Okay. So distribution point, you understood?
Yep.
Then you have software update point. What is software update point? Software update point is basically for patch deployment, right? Software update point is to integrate WSUS into SCCM. Because suppose if you have 10,000 computers, and Microsoft is releasing update every second Tuesday every month. Okay,
Right.
that right? Every second Tuesday every month they are releasing updates. So you have 10,000 machines. Let's say this this month they have released 1,000 updates. So I need to install those on my 10,000 computers, right? Because otherwise my systems will be vulnerable. Okay, my systems will be vulnerable, and my computers are prone to be attacked. So these days so many cyber crimes are happening. So that's the reason you have to keep your computers up to date. So you cannot ask user to go ahead and update your systems. So rather we will set up the whole server architecture here. We will have WSUS server internally. This will be internal server, which will talk to Microsoft update server. This is external. This is Microsoft server on the public network. It is on the public network.
Yeah.
So it will talk to Microsoft update server, and from here it is going to bring all the updates, whatever the updates, because every day, every month they are putting updates here. They are dumping updates here. and it is publicly available. Anyone can connect and download the updates from there. So we can download the update into WSUS. Okay. Now from WSUS you can patch all those 10,000 machines, but we are not going to do that because we have SCCM. Why?
Yeah.
Because if you do patching from WSUS, then you are not utilizing SCCM properly, because SCCM also gives you patching functionalities. Understood? So instead of you doing half of the task from SCCM or half of the task from WSUS, you will also need 2 different administrators. Rather, what you can do, you can integrate the whole thing in SCCM. So whatever the things what we get from WSUS or from Microsoft, we are gonna integrate them into SCCM. And integration, this is the one which will helps you to do the integration. Software update point. So software update point is required to integrate WSUS into SCCM. It is required to deploy updates from SCCM to client computers. Okay. So basically from SCCM, you can deploy updates to those 10,000 machines. Okay.
Right.
Can that run on the same as the for example, so that again could run on the same box as the management point and the distribution point? Can they all run on the
Yes,
same?
that is possible.
Yeah.
Yes, that is
Yeah.
possible. That is,
So you can
so
group them
suppose,
together.
yes, suppose if you want to put management point here, DP here,
Mhm.
right, and you want to put WSUS here and software update point. So software update point and software WSUS has to be installed on the same server. It cannot be installed on 2 different servers. So you can do that in primary site. You can add all these things in one server.
Okay. You see this way you got it set up here? You've got SCCM, and then you've got the software update point in between. Now, could you have all those services run on that same place as well, on the software update point?
This is not a server. This is just a role which we have to install
It's a
either
role.
here
Okay. But
or
if
on a separate box.
But if it
This is
was,
not a
imagine
server.
that was so if that was a box, it'd be the same thing, like you said, that they could still all run on this
Yes.
point here. If it
Let's do.
was a box.
Yeah, I'll show you. Suppose if you wanna put it separate on a separate box.
So,
So this is
yeah.
our primary site, but
Mhm.
I am gonna put I'm gonna offloading some of the task here on a separate server.
Mhm.
Okay. MP is here, DP is here, but I would like to install WSUS here on a separate server. Let's say this one is primary site and this one is server 1, a separate box. I need to install software update point on the same server. So all the services will be running here. Okay. So WSUS is going to talk with Microsoft update server, From here, it is going to bring updates, and then it is going to pass on the updates here into software update point, and then finally it will reach here.
Okay. Okay.
Understood? WSUS also has a database. Okay, because it scans the machine and find out how many machines are compliant, how many machines have updates, how many machines are still pending for updates and all. Getting more clear picture?
One
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
You see these points, these services, right? Just to understand something. Okay, so let's say the primary site communicates with the database from the secondary site, if the secondary sites are present, yeah? Now, when it comes to these services we're just talking about, are these in the database or are these more stored in the on the application?
Sorry, I lost you.
Yeah, sorry, I think what it is, yeah. So what I'm saying is, so this server you got here, whether it's okay,
These
so software
services.
update
Okay.
point and management point, these distribution points. So these are
Okay.
the site roles. The site roles
Yes.
aren't stored in a database, is what I'm getting at.
Site roles are not in
Are
the
they
database.
stored? Yeah, are they in the database?
No. These are the components, like some features of SCCM.
Yeah, I
So
get it.
you have to install this component, and then that feature will get enabled.
Okay.
Database is separate. SCCM will also have a database that will be separate. It is basically, database is for what? It is going to store the data. That's it. But somebody has to get the data. So management point is pulling the data. It is pulling the data from the devices and all, and then it is storing here on the database. So management point is like an application. Distribution point is like application, you can say, which is running in the backend.
Okay.
Okay.
So when we install any application or we stage any application, does that application also stores in database, or just the like how it is everything?
Yeah, every entry will go to database. Whatever changes you do, it goes to the database. Information
No, I
will
mean
go
the
to the
content.
database.
Let's say 1 GB
Content,
Microsoft Office.
no. Content will go to distribution point. Why it will go to
physically
database?
it is there
Yes.
on the server, but only it's the entries or the information of that.
Yes. Yes, entries will be there in the database, not the
but
content.
not the physical application will store in database, right?
No.
Okay.
Database is gonna store the entry, not the content. Content is for distribution point. Distribution point will take all the contents.
Okay.
Okay. So
Right.
software update point is for patch deployment. It is an optional role, guys. Why optional? I'll tell you. Okay, because some people, they are doing from WSUS itself. They are not doing from SCCM. So if you don't want to do it, you can ignore this. I mean, you don't need to install this role at all. Understood?
Yeah.
And where will you install this? You can install this on primary site. Suppose if you would like to do it on here, let's say this is primary site, you can install it here, the software update point and WSUS both. Or you can install it on a separate server, or you can install this on secondary site.
But better to install integrate with SCCM because we get a good reporting.
No. That's not a problem. Better to install on a separate box on the same network. Let's say you are in Mumbai, the primary site is in Mumbai. On the same LAN network, you install it on a separate server. Why? Because I'll tell you, WSUS consumes a lot of memory and processor.
Right.
Okay. So let's say you have 64 GB of RAM in SCCM primary site server and 8-core processor. Okay.
Right.
But this WSUS is consuming and almost in production almost this kind of RAM and processor. So it will eat up the whole memory and processor, and SCCM server will be degraded. The performance will degrade. So what we do, we create another server and we give like 16 gigabyte of RAM or 64 gigabyte of RAM or something like that, 8-core processor, so that it will be separate server altogether, so that load is balanced.
Got
Okay.
it. Got it. No. My question was like, if you were saying that we can't use SOUP and we can only use WSS also in the environment, but the difference is we will not get such a good reporting the way we get it from SCCM.
Yeah, right.
That was my
SCCM gives us good reporting.
So that's why
And
people integrate WSS. That's fine. It is recommended to have it on a different server. This WSS, what we call it, it's a service, right? Which we enable.
Right.
So, but we should integrate it with SCCM to get a proper reporting, compliant, non-compliant.
Proper reporting, plus you can do everything from one umbrella.
Correct.
Rather than doing it from 2 different locations, and you also need 2 different administrators for these things.
Correct.
Give me 1 minute, guys.
Hi, Rishi.
Yep.
Hi, sorry, yeah, that part. So you're saying that if you've got Windows Software Update Server, mind you, have it in SCCM. If you had Windows Software Update Server on the network, on the domain, you wouldn't need to use the SUP on SCCM, right?
Yeah. So
in other words, you use one or the other, but you don't need both.
Right. No, I mean WSUS is the core. That is the like you can say it's a baseline for the Windows updates. Anyways, you require WSUS. So rather installing on a SCCM server, this is what Kashif is saying, if I'm right, you should install WSUS because that is a baseline. Anyways, that is required. SOUP also is going to work on WSUS only. So it will search for your WSUS server. So better to install WSS as a role, which is a part of operating system, on a single individual machine or a server, and then integrate this WSS with your SUP role on the SCCM server. This is what Kashif means.
Okay.
You got
Okay.
it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because WSOS is a baseline. It is required. Microsoft has not created anything extra. It is using WSS role or a service still, which you can use independently. You don't require SUP. You can push, you can approve updates from WSS and push it to the environment. That's okay. But people to manage centrally from the SCCM, we install SUP role on the SCCM and integrate it with the WSS existing in your environment. So this is how it works.
Okay.
But there's an extra cost because WSS will install on a server itself. So 2012 or 2016 or 2014, whatever server you have a cost of that server also. You have to keep in mind.
Okay.
Hey guys, I had to pick up a call. Okay, so I hope this is clear. So this is an optional role, guys. Let me
We were
take you to
just
the next
discussing
slide.
this. Yeah, we were just discussing this, Kashif, because what I was saying is that if you had WSUS on the domain server, that you wouldn't really need to use the SUP, or would you still need to use it?
No, SUP is needed if you have to deploy updates from SCCM. If you don't want to
Okay.
deploy updates from SCCM like this, right? So you can deploy updates from here to WSUS. But generally what we do, when we have SCCM, we would like to do everything from SCCM. Okay, let's say you have a laptop and mobile. One of the tasks you can do it from laptop, another task you can do it from mobile, but there is one functionality, both the task you can do it from your mobile. So rather than you doing from operating two different devices, you can use your mobile to perform both the tasks. So SCCM is capable to do both the tasks, but in the backend WSUS will have to be there. Okay, because the initial task is being done by WSUS. It is talking to Microsoft and it is bringing the updates here, and then finally it goes here with the help of software update point. Software update point is integrating WSUS into SCCM.
Okay.
So if you cannot remove this role if you are doing through SCCM, it has to be there. It is the backend, like the pillar. If you disconnect this one, I remove this one, this will not work.
Okay.
The patching. I hope it's clear.
Yeah, Rishi said something similar, but you confirm what Rishi said as well. Yeah.
Okay. Fallback status point we will discuss later on. It is just like like if one thing goes down, then we can use fallback status point to do some alternate task. For example, distribution point is down, then the machines in that location can connect to another fallback status point or distribution point to get the content. We'll discuss about this later on. Okay. There was one role called application catalog website point, so that we can create one internal website, and all application you can publish on a website, and you can ask user to go to the website and install yourself whatever the approved applications are there. You can just like a Play Store, but this is decommissioned now. This is decommissioned. We don't have this role anymore in the new version of SCCM, so we don't need this one. Okay. This one, application catalog web service, this is also decommissioned. This was to publish. The previous one was to create a website, and this is to publish from application from SCCM into this website.
But I thought one of the main features of SCCM was so that when users, for example, you can push applications out to the machine, obviously the standard applications they require, and then you have a store point where if they need something later, it's there where they can browse and then just install it themselves.
Yeah, so they have now, previously it was also there, but that had limited feature, but now they have integrated this website feature in Software Center. Okay, Software Center. So this gives the same kind of functionality. All applications you publish, it will be there, and user will have install button. A user can click on install. Let's say this application, you check the box and install. It will get installed in his machine. So that website dependency is removed now. So website feature is implemented here in Software Center.
Okay. Application catalog.
Okay. That feature is still available, but not through the website, through this
Yes.
Software Center.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So there are two roles we have skipped because application catalog website point, this is to create website, this is decommissioned. Another application catalog web service point, this is also decommissioned. Okay, so both of them are gone. Now SMS Provider. This is the main role in SCCM which helps SCCM and database to communicate to each other. So Andrew, you speak English language, I speak French. Will I be able to communicate to you? I cannot. I need one translator. Let's say Rishi is the translator. The Rishi understands both the languages, French plus English, and he can speak both the languages. So SMS Provider is like a translator because SCCM talks in WMI language, database talks in SQL language. So they cannot talk to each other until we have a translator, interpreter. So it is acting as a translator, which is taking WMI information query from SCCM and then converting into SQL and then finally reaching to database and vice versa. Okay.
Okay. So
Understood?
SMS provider. So that's SMS provider, yeah.
The SMS provider, it's a mandatory role. You have to have this because if you don't have this one, you cannot, database and SCCM cannot talk to each other. So it converts WMI query in SQL query and feeds into the database. If you don't have SMS provider, your console will not work because whatever the changes you make in console, that is WMI through WMI changes, WMI query. And in the backend, it has to connect to the database. You know, the console, SCCM console is there, the tool. So WMI provides the WMI provide that assigns read and write access to the configuration manager database. Through SMS provider, you can communicate to the database. Understood? It's a mandatory role. Where will you install this? So you can install this on primary site, this SMS provider. Okay. Or you can install this on database as well. Okay. Suppose if a database is on separate server, or you can install it on a separate server. Let's say there is a separate box. You can install SMS provider. So it will, SCCM will communicate, send all the query here. I mean the WMI language query, a script, and it will convert to SQL and feed into the database like this.
Yeah.
Mandatory role, guys. Okay.
Yeah. So can we install it later or during the installation of server?
No, during installation, you have to have at least one SMS provider.
Yeah, we have to define it
later,
at that time only.
Yes. Yes. Later on, you can add more. Let's say
Okay.
if you want more SMS provider role, you can add more. But at least one has to be there during installation.
Okay.
Then you have asset intelligence synchronization point. Asset intelligence is for categorization of software. It is required to categorize software. you have thousands and thousands of software. Let's say you have 10,000 machines, okay, 10,000 computers, Windows computers. So those 10,000 computers will also have some software. Some will have 2, some will have 3, some will have 5, some will have 10. So those software can be categorized, because we don't know what is the category of Google Chrome. We don't know what is the category of Firefox. So it will come into browser family. Understood? And that will be done by asset intelligencing. That role is gonna create a big category and then subcategory, and then categorize software like this: player category, database category, developer category. Understood?
Mhm.
All right.
Plus it does the inventory and manage software license as well. So suppose if you have to manage license to find out what is the license consumption, so you can utilize this of asset intelligence. Not a great feature, but you can use that. Okay.
It's mandatory as well, yeah?
No, not
It's
mandatory.
optional.
Because people are not installing this one. What happens? Whatever the information, let me put it like this. You have, let's say, 10,000 computers, right? 10,000 computers. On those 10,000 machines, let's say you have 50,000 software. How much? 50,000 software. So total from the database, you got 50,000 software. Those information will pass on to SCCM Asset Intelligence Synchronization Point. So it knows 50,000 software. Then this information will go on cloud to Microsoft Asset Intelligence Synchronization Point, because it does not know, SCCM does not know the category. It will have to check from Microsoft Asset Intelligence Synchronization Point. So your data, your 50,000 data is basically going in outside. So people are not using this. But in case if you want to do it, use that, you can do that. Okay. Understood?
Mhm.
It is optional role. It can be installed on primary site. It can be installed on secondary or any other Windows server. Separate server you can have and put that role on that box. Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have, Windows Defender is there. Windows Defender is now installed in, by default, installed in where? Windows 10
Yeah.
and Windows Server 2016 onwards. So in 2016, 2019, by default, this Windows Defender is there. In every machine, you will find this one. Now, this Windows Defender, you can manage that one. When it should scan the machine, what it will do when it finds any virus, when it should do quick scan, when it should do full scan. Okay, what will be the frequency and all. So when
Right.
this Windows Defender, you can create policy for Windows Defender and all other things from this SCCM itself. And for that, you need to install this role, Endpoint Protection Point role. Okay.
Okay.
So this is basically to manage and install antivirus. This is only gonna work with Microsoft Windows Defender. You cannot manage Symantec, Norton, AVG, Trend Micro. No, those are third party. Okay. Where will you install this role? Primary site, secondary site, or any other Windows server. And this is an optional role. Why optional? Because people are not using this. People are using, they don't believe in Windows Defender antivirus. They believe in Symantec or other antivirus, the mainstream antivirus.
That's right.
Right. Also, the management also has some commission, right? So they don't want to take the free one. They would like to take the paid application, so that they will also have their cut. Understood?
Say that bit again. Just
this Windows Defender is free of cost, right?
Yeah.
So suppose I have got this Windows Defender, right? And I have like 10,000 machines. So I need to define policy of this Windows Defender of those 10,000 machines. I can do it from SCCM endpoint protection point role. But management does not believe on this one. What they do is they purchase Semantic or Norton or Trend Micro.
That's right. Yeah.
Why? Because then they will have their commission, because they are going to purchase something, right? They don't want to use the free product. Understood?
Okay. Okay.
In some companies it is it happens, not everywhere.
No, I'm sure it does happen a lot. Yeah, sure. Yeah, that's how corporations work, don't they?
You see, in one of my students, he came to me and he said, "Sir, SCCM is now the people we were using SCCM and now they have decided to decommission SCCM and move everything to this thing, a workspace." I said, "What? People are going from workspace to SCCM and they are doing other way around. Why? Because their management has decided." So maybe they had got some commission or something. So the management take some bad decision, and because of that, the employees have to suffer, and the company will have to suffer too. Understood?
Yeah.
Yeah. So this defend point is a complete antivirus solution or like malware detection and all that?
It's a malware detection, not complete one. For complete one, you will have to take the endpoint protection point, this thing, purchase that from Microsoft. Then you will have a separate server for endpoint protection, just like Semantic is server or Trend Micro server. And then you can define the, you can block, unblock the ports and all. You know, there are many things which you can do.
In terms of antivirus, the Windows Defender, is it, how can I put it? How reliable is it? The freeware.
People are not using it. Give me 1 minute, guys.
Okay. What's your experience been? Have you heard of anyone that had problems with Defender, Rishi?
Not yet, because mostly companies are using third party, not the Microsoft one. Like in my company, we are using McAfee.
Yeah.
And so
Most
mostly,
places I've been to, they have. I was just wondering if there's anywhere where they've used just Defender. I haven't known it. I've known for some places to relax it a bit on some machines, but not all machines, sort of thing.
Right.
Yeah, I just wonder if anyone's ever come across problems with Defender.
I don't think so.
Okay, guys, I'm back. So this is not reliable. I mean, for reliability, this is okay, but people do not believe on this. They always take some third party. As Rishi said, he has McAfee, right? And I don't know about your company. You will have something else, some other antivirus.
Usually it is McAfee. It's McAfee or Semantic are the two. I've known some places where there might be a short on licenses, sort of slightly smaller companies, obviously, and they'll say, okay, well, what we'll do is we won't put antivirus on this Windows machine because it's got Windows Defender. I've recently came across this in an organization where they were using Surface tablets, Surface Pro, and they felt that for the Surface Pros they weren't too concerned about antivirus because it has the Defender on it. But I was thinking that's still a risk. No, that's still a risk. And I was wondering if there's anywhere has it been reported where someone's actually had a problem with just using Defender.
It is not that problematic. It is good, but very rarely people are using it because of it comes free. So when something is free, then you get suspicious.
That's right.
Okay, right. Okay, so this is an optional role, guys. This is not mandatory. Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. Where will you install? You can install on primary, secondary, or any other Windows server. Okay. Now, reporting services point. Reporting services point. All our reports are present here in the database. Okay.
Right.
So all the reports are present here in the database. So in order to integrate the report here in SCCM, in order to integrate, we need to install reporting services point. So it is required to connect report server, because our report server in the database, and fetch the reports from the database. It can only be installed on the database. Okay, reporting services point can be installed here. You cannot install in other server. If your SCCM and database on the same server, let's say here, then you can install reporting services point here. But if your database is on a different server, on a separate box, then you have to install on a different server altogether. Okay.
Could you make this screen larger again, please?
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah. Okay. So reporting services.
Reporting services point can only be installed on the database here.
Yeah.
Okay. And it is a mandatory role. Why it is mandatory? Because without this, you don't know what is happening in the back end of the reports. Let's say you deployed something, you need report. You need to know the inventory data, you need to report. Okay.
Yeah.
For everything you need report. So it is like not exactly mandatory, but it is like mandatory. So I made it as mandatory. Okay.
Yeah.
So connect to.
I need to go back.
Yeah.
So you mean mandatory? That means if we can run SQL queries and get the report, that also will work. In that case, it is not mandatory. But if we require on the SCCM to view the reports, it is required.
Right.
Retrieve reports from database. Okay, continue.
Then we have service connection point. Service connection point is to keep SCCM updated. Just like we will install 2002, for example, and we would like to update to 2010. So how will we upgrade? So we need service connection point, which will talk to Microsoft Update Server and find out if there is any update available for 2002. So it will say yes, 2010 is available. So you can get 2010 downloaded and installed. So this will get upgraded from 2002 to 2010 or 2006, the latest version. So it is needed to keep SCCM up to date. As soon as Microsoft releases any update for SCCM, you will get a pop-up notification. New update is available. So service connection point is basically for that.
So it was
Plus,
not there before in 2012 R2
no,
or
no,
okay.
2012 it was not there. It was
So how we
added later on.
So how we used to upgrade at that time? Like how we came to know we
That
have to upgrade?
time we used to go to Microsoft website, download the whole new
Oh,
package, and then
okay,
install offline. Okay,
okay,
understood. But it is just like in place
into
upgrade on your phone. You
right.
get a pop-up, new update is available, and then you update it, right?
right.
Yeah. Nearly finished making notes. SCM
Mm.
must be installed on P1.
So that means when we were running 2007 and we switched to 2012, so that is an all in all is a different server we have to create and move all
Yes,
the migrate
2007 and 2012, 7 cannot be migrated to
migrated.
2012. It
Okay,
was like you have to build two separate parallel server. 2007
okay,
is already there. You build a new parallel server, and then you cannot integrate, but you can
migrate.
get some of the things from there,
Yeah,
like
some
collection information. You can
right.
capture those information and then put it to 2012. You can get
Right.
application related information, then put it it's like very limited kind of migration
Uh, so and
in
all the
2012.
application which were there, we have to physically move and copy on the
Yes,
server there in the DP or the content location.
yes.
Okay. And then from 2012 to 1511, when it comes, it was in place or it was again like we
No,
have to create.
not in place. This one. Download the 1511 version offline installer and then
Right.
install it. But
Same
now it
server
is
or a
very
different?
simple.
No,
Same
no, on
server.
same server. Same server.
Same server. Yes, same server can be upgraded.
Okay.
Okay. One more role of this service connection point is it can connect Azure services like Cloud Management Gateway and other things, right? The Azure services. It can previously it used to connect only Intune, but now it can connect to Azure services like Azure Active Directory. So it
Yeah.
will help you to integrate those Azure some cloud services. Okay, Azure cloud services.
Yeah.
Where will you install this? You can install this on primary site. You can also you can also install this on CAS, central administration site.
Yeah.
So if you have CAS and you would like to upgrade your SCCM from older version to the latest, then you start from CAS. First you upgrade CAS, then you upgrade primary, and then you upgrade secondary. Secondary will get upgraded automatically as soon as the primary is upgraded.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is the last role for today. State migration point. This is for migrating user from one operating system to another operating system. So in Windows 7 world, some computers were incompatible to upgrade to Windows 10, the hardware compatibility issue or something.
Yeah.
So the machines, people were saying, what about my data? Let's say Rishi is using this computer and this computer cannot go to Windows 10. He has his files 2 years. He used this computer. He has his documents and everything. So what we can do, we can capture all these things to a state migration point. This is not a SCCM feature. This is Windows feature, but they have integrated into SCCM. So you can capture this into a state migration point, and then Rishi will get a new machine, and we will restore all the data, all the files, whatever he had here. He will get everything here. Just basically, it is user profile migration. So it is required while migration is of operating system. It captures user profile before migration and restore after migration. It can be installed on primary, secondary, or any other Windows server. Optional. Okay, clear, guys?
What file it makes? WMI or no?
No,
Vim or
not
what?
WMI. No. It uses XML configuration file. Exact. I don't remember the exact this thing.
Okay. Because I used this in Windows 7.
Extension.
Like, what was that feature called in Windows 7 where it takes all the data and makes a double Vim file, I think.
No, no,
Makes a
that
Vim
is
file.
capture. No, that is capture the whole operating system you are talking about. This does
Yeah,
not
yeah.
capture whole operating system. This capture only user data. Whatever the
Okay.
files are present here in C users section,
Okay.
like documents,
Right. Desktop.
favorite, desktop icons and all. It won't
Yeah.
capture the installed application information because those are
Okay.
whatever machine based it won't take. Only user based
Mm-hmm.
it will take. The one which you are saying, that is the whole operating system capturing thing, the Vim file. Okay.
Okay.
This is optional, guys. Clear?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's put this on there actually, optional. I'll put it in green.
Okay, so we will discuss about these features and functionalities tomorrow. We will discuss about the lab setup. We'll discuss about how we are gonna do the lab setup and all tomorrow. So any question?
Yeah, just gonna quickly run over this. So today,
Okay. So we'll talk about management point. Is it mandatory or optional, guys?
it's mandatory.
Very good. Distribution point?
Mandatory.
Very good. Reporting services point?
I don't know. No,
Optional but mandatory.
Mandatory. We can just keep it mandatory, okay?
Yeah.
Then software update point?
Optional.
Optional, right? Reporting endpoint protection point, endpoint protection point role.
Optional.
Right. Then
Service connection point.
Service connection point.
Mandatory.
Optional or mandatory? Optional. Suppose if you don't want to upgrade, then you keep it as it is. I think I did not mention whether it's optional or mandatory. Service connection point is optional, okay?
Optional.
State migration point.
Optional.
Very good. Okay. Now there are how many sites in SCCM? 3 sites, right? Central, primary, and secondary. Central also needs database. Primary needs database, and secondary also needs database. And data travels from downward to upward.
Yeah, one question here. When we say the number of clients managed by any of the site, does it has a dependency on the SQL server we have, or it is the server that we have, the
SQL
SCCM?
server, yeah, it has the dependency on the server, and the dependency is right here. I'll show you. Yes, number of clients being managed by central administration site, 825,000. Yeah, and if you have enterprise, then 825,000. If you have a standard SQL, then only 150,000. Very less.
Got it.
Okay. Primary side can manage up to 250. Secondary side 250. Distribution point 10 management point, and supports 175 client computers on SQL server. If the SQL server is on a separate server, like SCCM, and database on a separate server, and that should be SQL Enterprise. If you are putting the SQL on the same server, then only 50,000. Okay. Good question. Okay. Any? Okay. So we have talked about site roles. So CAS can have 825,000 client computers. Primary side can have 175,000 client computers, and secondary side can have 15,000.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, guys. So I will. You have to send me your email address on WhatsApp. I will create a this thing WhatsApp group and add you guys in there. Plus,
All right.
I will upload. I'll create one this thing Google Drive wherein I'll upload my videos here, so that I can share those videos with you on Google Drive. Okay.
Okay.
After the
Right.
session.
Brilliant.
Okay, guys.
Thanks
Fine.
very
So
much.
today we actually did some lengthy session because we initially had some good discussion. So from tomorrow, 11:30 India time, that is 7 o'clock UK,
Yeah.
we'll meet.
Yeah.
And
Thank you.
because you've just asked, usually the session's what? Is it hour and a half, isn't it?
Hour and a half, but sometime we'll do 1 hour, sometime depends on the topics.
Okay. Brilliant. Okay.
Okay.
Thanks
Thank
again.
you.
Guys, have a
Thanks.
nice day and see you
Thank you.
tomorrow morning.
Yeah, tomorrow. Yep. Thanks.
Thanks, Christian.
Thanks.
Okay. Bye.